The term kaleidoscope comes from the Greek words kalos, meaning beautiful, eidos, meaning form, scopio, meaning to look, and so a kaleidoscope is literally the observer of beautiful forms. But what are these beautiful forms? We'll take you back to the very invention of the kaleidoscope. We'll look at its rise in popularity and its eventual decline. We'll see how it was reinvented for modern audiences and explore some of the unexpected ways that it's being used today. What is it about this simple toy that has inspired artists, scientists, psychologists, and mathematicians for centuries? Over the years, many variations of the kaleidoscope have been created. First, wars in Europe and the US led to economic uncertainty, and people had less money to spend on toys and novelties. In the 1950s, these artists rediscovered the kaleidoscope and began experimenting with new designs and concepts. Antique Victorian kaleidoscopes became highly sought after, and artist-made handcrafted scopes were also in demand. This renewed interest also led to the publication of books and magazines devoted to the kaleidoscope, as well as the formation of clubs and societies for kaleidoscope enthusiasts. Well, at its core, it's a simple optical instrument. We know we certainly enjoyed making this video for you. Do not forget to subscribe for more fun science videos, and check out our support page if you want to support us. Thanks for watching. Light enters the tube, bounces off the mirrors, and passes through the object cells before exiting and hitting your eye. This creates a symmetrical pattern that's dependent on the arrangement of the mirrors in the object cells. While the basic principles of the kaleidoscope have remained the same since its invention in 1816, modern advances in materials and manufacturing have allowed for the creation of kaleidoscopes with greater precision and complexity. This has led to the development of kaleidoscopes that can produce incredibly detailed and intricate patterns, as well as those that incorporate new technologies and materials such as liquid crystals and holographic plates. Whether you're looking at a traditional, handcrafted kaleidoscope or a modern computer-aided marvel, the basic principles of symmetry, color, and light remain the same. So next time you pick up a kaleidoscope and peer through the tube, remember that you're witnessing the result of centuries of innovation and experimentation by artists, scientists, engineers, and mathematicians who are fascinated by the beauty of symmetrical patterns and the wonder of human ingenuity. They explored non-traditional geometries using hexagons, dodecagons, and other polygons to create kaleidoscopes that could produce more complex and intricate patterns. Today, kaleidoscopes are still being made by hand using traditional techniques, but they're also being created using computer-aided design and manufacturing. Advances in material science have also led to the creation of kaleidoscopes with unique properties and capabilities, such as those that use liquid crystals or holographic plates. These modern kaleidoscopes continue to push the boundaries of what's possible with this ancient form of art. They also experimented with new materials, including plastics and metals, and developed new manufacturing techniques that allowed them to create kaleidoscopes with greater precision and accuracy. Some of the most notable pioneers of this movement included Harry Hay, who is credited with inventing the first liquid kaleidoscope, and Ron Resch, who created some of the most intricate and complex kaleidoscopes of his day. These artists and engineers helped to elevate the kaleidoscope from a children's toy to a respected form of art. Second, new forms of entertainment such as cinema. Radio and eventually television offered more exciting and engaging forms of escapism. Finally, the quality of kaleidoscopes declined as mass manufacturers substituted glass and metal with low-cost plastic. Some have 2 mirrors instead of 3, creating a linear pattern instead of a circular one. Others have a cylinder filled with colored oils or other liquids, which can create interesting rippling effects. Still, others have external ornamentation such as mother of pearl, silver filigree, or painted scenes. But perhaps the most popular and iconic type of kaleidoscope is the Victorian kaleidoscope, which was all the rage in the mid-19th century. These kaleidoscopes were typically made from tin and had printed exteriors featuring elaborate designs and bright colors. They were much cheaper than the handcrafted kaleidoscopes that had come before them, making them more accessible to the general public, especially children. If you'd like to help us reach our goal, check out our support page. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. This is our channel, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, how do kaleidoscopes work? To answer this question, we'll be covering a lot of ground. Before we begin, we want to thank our supporters for helping us to make this episode. Kaleidoscopes are relatively easy to make. They usually consist of a tube containing mirrors, which have been angled to reflect light. When light enters the tube, it bounces off these mirrors and passes through colored glass, beads, or other objects before exiting and hitting your eye. For example, the type of object used inside the kaleidoscope can have a big impact on the final image. Small pieces of glass or beads can create a bright, sparkling effect. Larger pieces of glass or stones can create a more muted, earthy effect. And using objects like crystals or gems can create an image that seems to shimmer and change colors. In addition, the arrangement of the objects inside the kaleidoscope can also affect the final image. For example, if the objects are arranged in a random pattern, the image will be more chaotic and unpredictable. If the objects are arranged in a more orderly pattern, the image will be more symmetrical and predictable. Depending on the orientation of the kaleidoscope and the objects inside, different patterns will be visible to the observer. One of the most important properties of a kaleidoscope is that the pattern is always symmetrical. Because of the way that light interacts with the mirrors and the objects inside the tube, the pattern will always have lines of symmetry that extend from the center of the kaleidoscope to the edge. This creates the mesmerizing effect that makes kaleidoscopes so appealing. But despite how simple they seem, there are actually a lot of variables that can affect the quality of the kaleidoscopic image. The first kaleidoscopes were handcrafted luxury items made from brass and glass. In the early 20th century, the kaleidoscope fell out of favor due to several factors. Despite its decline in popularity during the first half of the 20th century, the kaleidoscope experienced a revival in the second half of the century, thanks in part to a group of American artists and engineers. By the late 1950s, the renewed interest in the kaleidoscope led to a small but dedicated collector's market. In the following decades, the kaleidoscope continued to evolve, incorporating new technologies and materials while staying true to its core principles of symmetry, color, and light. So how does a kaleidoscope work? We hope you enjoyed learning more about how kaleidoscopes work.